I know. Andrew. No, it was supposed to be Andrew. Right, Simon? His brother. His brother called. His brother said he could line it up. I know it was supposed to be Andrew. He's at some type of a fish mending net convention or something. So he's here, right? He's here, ready to go? All right. Good. I've got interview questions for both Andrew and Simon. So give me a second, son. 10 seconds. Send Simon in just a second. Good evening. Welcome to the third of 6 segments of a special Dateline series, Dateline Jerusalem. We return tonight for this ongoing saga of Jesus of Nazareth. You kind of wonder what it is about this story, ladies and gentlemen, that is so incredibly intriguing, so enthralling. Jesus, a former carpenter turned street preacher, executed by crucifixion at the hands of an angry Jerusalem mob. Prior to that, Jesus had been well known. He'd been well loved throughout Jerusalem, even in northern and western Israel. He had, in fact, been welcomed into Jerusalem by an impromptu parade, streets lined with great supporters, shouting Hosanna, waving palm branches. All this just less than a week before his execution. Joining us tonight is one of Jesus's most loyal followers, a man who was with him right up to the very last point. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me Simon, son of Jonah.
Hello there. How
Simon,
are you?
Great to have you with us tonight. Thanks for making the quick trip.
No problem.
Minute.
They call me Peter, by the way.
Peter.
Yes.
Is that German?
No, that's what most everybody else calls me, though. So you know.
Okay. Great.
That's the Greek way of saying it, not German. Anyhow, Jesus and the others guys call me Cephas. Means the same thing, means rock. I'm not sure why they call me that. Kind of hard-headed at times, I think. I guess.
Oh, thank you, Cephas. Peter, would you take a few moments this evening to share with us a little bit about Jesus of Nazareth?
Yes. About that. It's not true, by the way. You know, not entirely, I'm thinking, accurate, if you know what I'm saying.
I really don't. What's not true?
Well, I wish it were true, but it's really not, technically, anyhow. I wasn't with Jesus all the way to the end, if by the end you mean his death, anyhow. Though it looks like that's not really the end of it, anyhow. I mean, you know, after his death, well, there's that different matter. But all the way up to his death, I was there most of the way. Most of the way, yeah. That little bit right before his death and kind of during, I mean, no, I wasn't there for that. But a good 99.9% of the time, maybe 99.8%. I forgot, there's that rooster thing, too. 96.4% of the time.
Would you mind if we just went back a little bit? Could you tell us a little more about your relationship with this Jesus?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's no problem. It all started a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, a little less, I'm not sure. I'd have to see a calendar to catch up on that. But anyway, Andrew and I were fishing, I mean Andrew being my brother, and Jesus called us to follow him. And what a time it's been since then, I have to tell you. You'd never believe it. There were huge crowds, there were wild things we saw that were going on. The miracles, people getting messed up and getting all put back together right while we were watching it. And Jesus, walking on water. And I could tell you, he could spot a fish. Just about ruined our nets, too. The stories I could tell you, I could talk your ear off.
I have no doubt. I understand that you were, though, however, one of Jesus' closest friends.
Oh, sure. We're real tight. Oh, yeah. He even paid my temple tax for us one year. He said, get this, go down to the creek, pull out a fish, and it'll have enough money in it to pay for the tax for both of us. That's what he said, if you can believe it. Well, I did it, of course. I'm not going to, he said. So I went down there. I pulled out this nice big pike, like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I slid it open. Yeah, and inside it, if you can't believe it, were 2 coins. Weirdest thing I'd ever seen, I thought. Jesus, he'd come over to the house, help out. He'd heal our mother-in-law or anything else he could do. We got along real well. Mm-hmm. He called me Satan, too, one time. But that was another time.
He called you Satan?
No, well, not like that, he didn't. No. He could be real nice and complimentary, too, He asked me who he thought he was, and I said he was the Messiah. And he was real glad for that, and I got it right. Affirming and all that. Right you are, he said, and you are the rock. And people saying that I'm the Messiah is the rock that they'll build their church on. I was pleased with myself. I thought, that's wonderful. But then he kept on talking and talking. You know how people can do that sometimes. They get going and they can't stop talking and talking to themselves, and they're doing all that kind of thing. He says, and he goes on, he's talking about he's going to get arrested, how he's going to get tortured. Then he says he's going to get killed. And then he says he's going to rise on the 3rd day, not the 2nd, not the 4th, but the 3rd day. He says he's going to get risen. Okay, so he's going on all this stuff. And so I say, God forbid. Now that's when he called me Satan.
I got to be honest with you, Peter. I don't necessarily get the connection here. Why would he call you Satan when really you didn't want to see him suffer?
Well, he said, get behind me, Satan, is what he said. You're thinking like people do, not like God does, okay? Turns out he was right about that. Just like he was right about everything else.
You mean about you being Satan?
No, geez, no, not that. I sure hope he wasn't right about that. But he was right about the suffering and the dying part. And the rest of it, too. That's just what happened.
Okay, so you had said that you were not actually with Jesus right up to the end. Could you tell us what happened, please?
Yeah. Well, we were sitting down for dinner together, okay? And we're leaning down, we're having our dinner, like how people do. They're having their dinner. It was the Passover. We're having the Seder, okay? It was the last meal we had together until recently. And Jesus said that one of us was going to betray him. We all wanted Jesus to know that it wasn't going to be us. I said, even if I have to die for you, I'm not going to betray you. Everybody else said that too. But Jesus told me that I would let him down 3 times. He said 3 times again, not 2, not 4, 3 times I'm going to let him down. Right then, before the next morning, like stabbing me in the heart with a knife. That hurt worse than being called Satan. Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. He didn't trust me better than that after all the times we've been together. Then we went for a little walk in a little garden called Gethsemane.
But you were still with Jesus at that time.
Oh, so far, yes. So far, yes, I was. Jesus went off on his own for a little while. We had a trouble staying awake, so he'd have to keep coming by, wake us up. He had to keep coming over. But yeah, we were still with him at that point, yeah, even when the mob arrived.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us more about the mob.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, there was this whole pile of soldiers. They had javelins, they had armor, they had torches, they had all the stuff. It was like they just come off a movie set or something. They were leading the whole bunch up the hill, and one guy was leading them up, Judas Iscariot. I thought at first Judas had gotten some of the soldiers off on our side. I thought, man, this is great. Get some bodyguards. Things were getting pretty tense, I have to tell you. And Judas was smart like that. He was always good at organizing. In fact, he was our treasurer. Yeah, but soon as Judas gave Jesus a kiss, we do that kind of thing over here, the mob went on the attack. I'm telling you. Turns out that Judas was some kind of double agent.
Okay, so then is that when you ended up leaving Jesus?
No, I did worse than that. if you must know. But not yet. That wasn't it. I was all gung-ho at first, I had a sword with me. You don't go walking around Jerusalem at night unarmed, especially around Passover, okay? Too many out-of-towners, too many Romans, all right? So I pulled out a sword and I took this swipe at a guy, Malchus, who works for the high priest. Great aim, if I must say so myself. I cut his right ear off, just like that.
I wasn't aware that at the arrest of Jesus there was such violence.
No, not that much. That was it. That was it. That's all it was. Jesus told me to put the sword away, so I did. Then the soldiers, he said if they let us go peacefully, that he would go with them. So we did. He put the cuffs on him and they drug him away.
And then you ran off.
No, most of the guys did. Most of them did. But John didn't either. I didn't. We faked like what they were doing, and then we snuck along behind the soldiers, hiding in the bushes, kind of staying with them, waiting to see where they were going to take them, what was going to happen. If Judas could play double agent, then John and I can do some of our own, we thought.
Where did you end up going?
Well, we went to the high priest's home. What was Caiaphas? The Caiaphas guy. Yes, that was who.
We had him here last week.
You did? I wish I would have been here. I'd give that guy a piece of my mind. I tell you something. I tell you what. So we went to his place. John ran up ahead and caught up with Jesus. And they let John in because he knew the people in there. I think he'd met the high priest a couple of times. So John talked one of the maids into letting me sneak in.
I don't really understand here, though, Peter, how it is that you thought you let Jesus down. It sounds to me like you were just trying to be as supportive as you possibly could.
I'm getting to that. So the maid says to me, "Oh, you're with that Jesus guy they just drug in here." And I'm still into that spy thing, so I didn't want to blow my cover. So I thought, I'm just going to lie a little bit about it. And I didn't know what she was talking about. And then I'm standing in the courtyard after she lets me in and warming my hands by the fire, and the soldiers keep on me. One guy says, "You got to be with that troublemaker Jesus," And I said, "No, you have the same accent like him, he does." And another one says, "Yeah, didn't see you at Gethsemane? Didn't I see you?" And I said, No. I said, because I definitely saw him there. And I kept saying, no. I'd never heard of him. Don't know Jesus. Don't know what you're talking about. And then that rooster crowed. I tell you, the sun comes up. It's morning. Jesus was right. Yeah. Again, I turned my back on him over and over.
Certainly pretty understandable, though, Peter.
No, it's not. John stayed with them. Some of them, women were with him. Even his mother stood by him. And as hard as it would have been for them, it would have been a million times worse for her. But 9 of us and the others who were with Jesus on that last night, and I ran out hiding. We're still hiding.
And yet still you were the one that was willing to call us and agree to this interview.
Yes. Because things have changed. Things have changed. That's why I'm here tonight. I don't think we're going to be hiding out much longer. That morning, we woke up to a frantic pounding on the door. We thought it might have been the police coming to take us away. We weren't even sure what was going on. But it was Mary Magdalene who stayed with Jesus the whole time. She'd run like a maniac back from the tomb. She was there as soon as the Sabbath was over so she could finish embalming Jesus. All right? And when she got there, the body, get this, the body was gone. All right? Then she said, Jesus is alive. We thought she was hallucinating, wishful thinking, anxiety attacks, something else is going on. This can't be right.
Do you think, though, that she could prove what she said?
Well, we didn't know, and we didn't want to wait around to find out. So John and I took off like a shot. We ran all over to that tomb as fast as we could. John got there first. He's a little younger, so he got to the tomb, and he was standing there, and I pushed him out of the way because he was frozen and inside, and I went inside, and sure enough, the tomb was empty.
You know, however, that the Roman authorities are claiming that the guards fell asleep, and actually what happened is that Jesus' body was stolen.
No, didn't happen. The body wasn't stolen. Jesus is alive.
Well, you told our producer when you called, nevertheless, that you yourself weren't exactly sure that you believed that was the case.
I wasn't sure that morning, but just before I left to come here and meet your cameraman, we had a visit. Jesus came to us. Don't know how he did it. No. The doors were locked tight, and there he was.
I wonder if he's still there. I wonder if we could actually get him to come in and give us an interview here. Do you wonder?
Yeah, good luck on that, because I don't know where he is now, all right? After a while, he just wasn't there anymore.
Pardon me from saying this, though. Are you absolutely sure, Peter, that this wasn't some type of a hallucination, that it wasn't just kind of brought on by some sort of anxiety or wishful thinking?
No. You're completely wrong on this, all right? Jesus pulled up a chair. He pulled up a chair, sat down and ate with us, all right? Hallucinations don't move furniture, all right? Wishful thinking don't chew fish, all right? Jesus is alive.
I got to say, Peter, that is what we've been hearing, and if that is true, this is really astounding news. But it really must be a very confusing and complex time for you to be going through right now.
Actually, it's not confusing at all. This is complete opposite. Things have never been clearer than where they are now. I don't understand half of the things Jesus was saying to me at the time, but it's all coming together now. It's all making sense. He once said he'd make us fish for people. And I'm thinking at the time, what's up with this? What am I going to do? Put a sandwich on a line and cast it out on the street? It didn't make sense to me. I just thought, what? It just doesn't make sense. But now I understand exactly what he was saying. The hook is the cross. The bait is Jesus. What am I going to do now, you ask? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now. I've got to go back to work is what I've got to do. I've got some fishing to do is what I got to do. All right?
Peter, thank you so much for your time. This is truly a fascinating story. Thank you for making the time to be with us tonight.
You're certainly welcome. Anytime.
Say hey to Andrew.
Yes, I will.
Incredible developments indeed in this ongoing saga, ladies and gentlemen. And we will, in fact, continue our coverage next week of this amazing story with the interview of one of the more colorful characters in this affair, one whose role is all of a sudden becoming a little larger than we had anticipated. Mary of Magdala. This is Dateline Jerusalem. Thank you for tuning in. That's the way it was.